call to order the Nicholas County Regular Board meeting, Monday, March 4th, 2024. And at this time, if you'll stand for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Please join the board with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. Is there anything that we need to?
See, nothing needs changed.
Okay.
Future meetings, you'll do that for me.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the meetings held on February 19th, 2024? Anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Mr. Moose makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. He was an aye. Yes. Okay, motion carried. Student representative Bailey Jarrett, and anybody with you, Bailey?
No.
You're by
I'll tell you
yourself.
why in a minute. Listen.
Go ahead.
My name is Bailey Jarrett. RHS National Honor Society had a blood drive on Friday, and they were able to collect 26 pints of blood, and we would like to show gratitude to all who donated. Savannah Moose competed at the State Science Fair today. Our Community and Schools Coordinator and the RMS Coordinator has secured a building for the food pantry for RHS and RMS students. We are so proud for their efforts to help and support RHS and RMS students. RHS is celebrating literacy and Dr. Seuss with the Spirit Week this week. Every day, the whole school, including teachers and staff, will drop everything and read for 15 minutes. Kaylin Williams will be competing in the State Poetry Out Loud competition on Friday in Charleston. We wish her the best of luck. The Lumberjack Express was visited by Congresswoman Carol Miller last week. She presented them with a flag that was flown over the Capitol of the night of the tree lighting. And then in alumni news, 2022 graduate Braden Atkins was named the 70th Mountaineer mascot at WVU. We are beyond proud of him and his achievements. And that is all I have for you.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, superintendent's information, Mr. Bean.
I have several things to go over tonight, and I don't usually go up to the podium, but I think I'm going to today. We had an incident occurred this weekend that I want to bring to everyone's attention. I mean, everybody's aware of what occurred. Yesterday around 2 o'clock, I got a phone call from Gene Collins, who's the principal of Richwoods Middle School. And he gave me some information that was very concerning. It was a potential threat that was levied on our middle school and high school. We tried to find out as much information yesterday as we could. Yesterday being Sunday, it was hard to get a hold of a lot of people to get all the information we needed. So to make a long story short, when I got this call, he was serious enough in my mind to have a Teams meeting with the principals and with Mr. Prine. I invited him into the conversation, and some of my directors, Kelly and Amy and Alan, joined me also on that call. And we determined as a group that the safest thing to do was just to cancel school for today until we can get to the bottom of what the threat really was. Now, when we announced that, I noticed on Facebook there was over 300 shares of that information. And today, when we got to the bottom of it, and I sent out another Facebook post explaining what we had found, and the threat was taken care of. It was a threat made by a student, but there was no evidence there was anything that was actually going to be carried out. I got 55 shares with that information. So I got a lot more information or shares on the first one than I did on the second one. But I did want to let the public know that we take these threats seriously. And I also want to make it known, and I think everybody knows this by now, it was not a firearms threat. It was a threat of a different manner. We're still working on disciplinary issues involving the student, but I've informed our principals to have a student assembly tomorrow and explain to the students the severity of making threats to a school system. Outside of all the cost involved with what happened by losing a day of instruction today, it puts a lot of people on edge for no reason. This was a situation where evidently a student lost her temper, made some comments they shouldn't have made, and whether we thought that they were serious or not, we had to take them serious and investigate them, which we did. So, make a long story short, I've talked to 6 news stations today, and they all wanted to know more details, which I could not provide. But we did send a dog into the school and search the building, and of course, if nothing was found, we had our employees report at 10 o'clock this morning, which gave us time. I was at the school at 7 o'clock this morning for them to be there when the dog was there to go through the building, which would, if there had been an issue, we would have found it before the teachers arrived. And so, but tomorrow we'll be back on schedule, regular time, ready for instruction. So I hope that answers the questions. You know, again, we take them very seriously, and students who make that choice to make a threat are going to have to pay the consequences for making those threats. You know, we're not going to take excuses, well, I was kidding and all this. You know, it's not kidding when you put specifics behind your threats. And that was the case in this instance. The next thing on my agenda, at the next board meeting, we'll have an MOU to present to the board to provide for the 24-25 school year, school-based health care clinics to Glade Creek, Birch River, Zila, Mount Nebo, Mount Lookout, and the Career Center. So that'll be on the next board agenda. The school calendar that we approved at the last board meeting has been sent to the State Department and approved along with the non-traditional instructional day packet. We did not have to get that approved by the board. I found that out, so I didn't bring it back to the board. It's just a checklist of things that each school does for to meet the NTID application process. It is on our website, so you can find it there. It actually is on the website yet. It's on the state website. And when they approve it at the board meeting in March, it'll show up on our website then. A couple months ago, we started collecting pictures of military people we have in our county, students who have a relative or employees who have a relative that's currently serving in the armed forces. We're wanting to collect those pictures and get those displayed in our hallways. I have 2 now. This is Ben Woods, who's in the Army. He's son of Tammy Kaiser, who's one of our aides at Summersville Elementary School. So we have Ben's. And then we have one for Zachary Spencer, whose mother is a custodian at Birch River Elementary School, and he is in the Marines. And those are two good-looking young men, and we applaud their working for us and protecting us with their lives every day. So I just want to encourage our employees and our parents and students, if you have someone in your immediate family in the military currently serving, send us the picture. We're going to get those displayed. The next item is one that is not going to make me real popular, but I didn't really take this job trying to become popular. Probably be more popular with parents than it is going to be with students. But one of the things I made clear when I came here was that, yes, we needed to do something about our ALC program, and yes, we needed to get our schools completed. I understand that. But academics was a real major concern for me. And I've made a concerted effort to get into the classrooms, and I've been in every single classroom in our elementary schools this year to observe the classes. And I'm starting to go through the high schools and middle schools. Well, during the year, I've been up and down the halls at the high schools and middle schools and sitting in a couple classes. I won't say which schools, it doesn't really matter. But I've seen some things that's been very disturbing to me, and that has been the use during class of cell phones by students. It's hard to instruct students on how to do a math lesson when they're playing on their phone. And I just have a real problem with that. I am not trying to take the cell phones from the kids. What I'm trying to get them to do is to put the cell phones away when instruction's going on. Now, in speaking to several fellow principals or superintendents of mine, a lot of them don't even allow cell phones in their schools. I'm not willing to die on that hill. I'm just not. But the ones that do have them, a lot of them have places for the kids to hang up their cell phones in a pocket, like a library card pocket or something. When they come into class, they pick it up on their way out the door. And that way, they can have it during breaks, they can have it during their lunchtime, they can have it on the bus, on the way home, but not during instructional time. Our academic scores are not the greatest. And I think that this maybe is part of it because they're just not paying enough attention. And I've seen it a lot. I'm not talking about an isolated case. I've seen it a lot, and it bothers me. So anyway, I wanted to get that out there and tell our students, we can do this one of two ways. They can either cooperate and voluntarily put them away, or we'll do something a little more mandatory. The last thing on my list is Mr. Moose asked me at the last board meeting, or meeting before that maybe, to give him a more detailed update on our construction projects. So I had Mike Hall, who represents Skanska, who's our construction manager for both our Richwood and Glade Creek projects, to send you an updated list of where we are on these projects. And so I'm just going to read these to you. At the Glade Creek site, all dirt work is complete and the surveyors have been on site to verify elevations. Hydro seeding is still going on between the athletic fields and the new building pad. This work should be complete within the next week if favorable weather persists. M&H, who's our contractor, is currently working on closing out documentation for substantial and final completion. This process should take more than 30 days once it's been submitted and accepted by the design engineers with CMN. M&H will continue to monitor and maintain erosion and sediment control according to the previously approved change proposal for the set monthly fee until the new building contract has been awarded, which we're hoping to get those bids out, I think, in the next month or so. At Cherry River, the last few weeks, SQP, who is the general contractor at that project, has focused on completing grade beams and footers in areas A, B, and D. Install protective sleeves and sanitary sewer lines through footers in all areas of the structure, and are installing sprinkler system lines throughout the building pad. Over the next several weeks, the masonry contract will lay 2 courses of block in area D in concurrence with electricians doing preparatory electrical work. The mason will then install a stone layer to the wall and then pour the concrete slab in area D, then move to C and complete the process. Repeat the process. SQP plans to have all footers completed within 2 weeks. Of course, when the footer is complete, that's when the wall is going to start going up. SQP will continue to install sanitary sewer and sprinkler system lines until completion of these projects. SQP plans to complete the first of the fire water tank foundations, and the project construction timeline calls for completion during the late spring or early summer of 2025. Note that this date could vary slightly with the acceptance or rejections of several cost proposals currently under evaluation by the design team. He says, I feel that the Glen Creek project design and the Cherry River construction project are finally ready to see forward movement that we've been waiting for. And he asked me to follow up with any other questions that I have. But one thing that Mike told me, it's not on this list, that it's not really funny, but it's just kind of interesting, is SQP, when they did the footers, they connected all the footers, and now the masons are going to carry the blocks across the footers instead of having a clear path to carry them. So probably the mason's not going to be real happy with that. But that's an SQP problem. That's not a Nix County Board of Education problem. And that's all I have.
Okay, next we have delegations. Any delegations? Thank you. So number 8 is presentation discussion item. Richard Vance and Cheryl Gibbon with the Craigsville Fall Festival. If you would like to come on up.
Do you need that during the presentation?
I have no idea what we're supposed to. We're here to request the use of Golly River Elementary School for the Craigsville Fall Festival, taking place in September.
I know you used to use it, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Every year.
Every year.
Parts of it, yeah. Fall Festival.
Have you discussed this with staff there?
Yes, sir.
Are they in agreement?
Yes, sir.
Y'all responsible for cleanup and I'm
Yes.
assuming
Yes.
making sure the buildings are back like they were in the ground. What about, none of these vendors sell alcohol or anything?
Yes, sir. No alcohol, no weapons, no tobacco will be on the product, no grounds. And will be monitored by the sheriff's department and have the names on the grounds.
Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Green, any questions?
It's probably the same we've always used every year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is only a presentation discussion item, it's not an action item. We will put it on the agenda for action
March 18th.
March 18th, but shouldn't be a problem, but anybody else have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all be safe. Okay, action items. Discussion with possible action on Shepherd University Conference Facilities and Services Contract. That's with Summersville Middle School. Devin Spinks is here, the Junior National Honor Society.
Hello, hello. So, always taking a field trip. What I just handed you was just kind of a market rate discussion, so you could see how we're trying to save money for the students to make this very accessible. We've been fundraising. We're about halfway there, so the accommodation at Shepherd is significantly cheaper if you look down at the bottom in comparison to the others. I also note that where I'm an alumni, I was able to receive an alumni rate for our conference.
So that contract is,
Do you need a copy of it?
it's in here.
Yeah. Contract. I'm all fine. My mouse keeps freezing on that.
Could you explain the purpose of this?
What's the trip?
The purpose?
Yeah, so this is our National Honor Society and Student Council trip. We wanted to take them to DC to see how our government works at a higher level. We're going to be able to meet with our congressmen and women in DC. We're also going to tour Shepherd and take a college trip. And we're going to do some fun things as well. We're going to take the students bowling on campus, do a ghost tour in Shepherdstown. So it is both academic and just to kind of let loose and have a little fun.
And you all are paid for it?
Yes.
How far is Shepherd from DC? It's
From
right,
D-
I know it's close.
It's, with the time of day we'll be going, it's about 45 minutes. But we are planning to take a Nicholas County school bus to the trip. So,
Right here, Shepherd University College.
No, I mean,
How many kids do we have going?
Right now, we have about 50.
there it is.
And the one thing I did want to point out in the contract is that there is insurance that would not be if we were to stay at a hotel within DC or in West Virginia.
How many students did you say again, sir?
It's about 50. That number could change. It could fluctuate up to, at any point, we could have 100 kids go if we had 100 kids signed up to go.
Six people enough to take 100 kids?
Well, we're only taking 50, so with the 56 is enough, but in the addition, if we were to
You
have
would add
additional
more.
students, we'd add more.
Okay.
I think our original number was 60, but that number has kind of shifted where it's Memorial Day weekend. Some families have said that they're not going because they're doing family things. And I also want to note that the market analysis I gave you is on my math. Don't trust my math. So,
They're going to be staying in the dormitories at
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Which will be closed
Yes.
during the summer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then they'll be
Just
isolated?
us.
They'll be separated?
Yep, and they'll be separated by gender, by floor.
Okay.
And there's card access everywhere, so they can't get from one place to the other without a card.
Yeah, I noticed they were gonna have cards, so,
Yeah, and I have it to where the students can't even enter the building without an adult. So the adults are the only ones that can enter into a building with them. So they, once they leave the building, they have to call one of us and wrap themselves after they've left when they're not supposed to, so. I worked in res life for 4 years prior to coming to work at the board, so I know my workarounds with the kids.
So what you're saying is you've tried all these methods?
No, I had people try it before me.
Is this the first time you've attended this?
This is completely, I completely built this trip up, so yes.
I don't see any problems with it myself. Hopefully it's an eye opener anytime we go to DC.
That's what I'm hoping. We're gonna do some
Yeah.
sightseeing, national Smithsonian monuments and stuff like that.
Mr. Bean, would you like to go with me?
Oh, we're gonna have fun.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Spinks? All right, we're gonna go ahead and take these action items separate, I believe. So do we have a motion to accept action item A?
I'll move.
Mr. Ferguson makes a motion, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Berry. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Next, discussion with possible action on selecting a name for the Glade Creek project.
Kids up there. He's teaching in spots, but he can't go up to the city.
So as you all could see on your board packet, the results of the survey for the school name, Summersville Elementary Middle School, that had 138 votes. Summersville Academic Center, and that's the one that said at Glade Creek, right?
I think so, yes.
42 in favor. Summersville Academic Complex, 126, and Summersville Learning Center, 20. So to me, it looks like, we had two that were pretty close there. So what's the feeling of the board? Did anybody break that down to see out of that 138 and 126, how many of it was students or people from this area?
Yeah. We didn't break it down by numbers. I looked through all these. There was very, very few people who voted for it from the Richwood end. Very few. And I think they were kind of,
Split.
yeah, I don't think it was one way or the other.
Okay.
So I think, those two are far and away the most obvious choices according to the public. So I think that's where you're going to have to make a decision, which is the best option.
So once again, this is the name for the building for the whole complex.
Yeah, we'll still have our.
There'll still be
entrances.
two separate entrances, one for Summersville Elementary and one for Summersville Middle
And
School.
each one will have their own school name.
Identity,
It won't
yes.
say school, it'll say Summersville Elementary entrance, Summersville Middle entrance, and then you'll have a complex that has the name.
I don't remember. Was that the first one, is that the whole thing, Summersville
Elementary. Middle School.
Elementary, middle, nothing else?
Summersville Elementary Middle School.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Non-academic complex. Okay.
Academic complex was one finished second,
Right.
at the end of the vote, within 10 votes.
I guess the bigger question is it a big enough sample size that you're comfortable with? I mean, you put it out there, you can't force people to respond. But,
I really think at this time, they're just happy to get a building. I don't know.
Almost all of these votes came in the first 2 days. After that, there was very little voting after that.
326.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Everybody had an
Either one.
opportunity, didn't you? Everybody had an opportunity.
Well, so it says discussion with possible action on selecting a name for the Glade Creek project. Does anybody want to make a motion on one of these names?
I think I suggested academic complex. I would suggest that, but with
I kind
others
of like
may.
that better too, but, you know, I'm good with because you're going to have Summersville Middle on one entrance and Summersville Elementary on the other entrance, and you're going to put Summersville Middle and Elementary on the top. It's kind of duplication. I kind of like the academic. It's close, but not enough to, you know.
Fuss over.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'll go with what.
I'm good with either one of them, whatever.
I know it didn't go out, but Summersville Elementary Middle School Academic Complex.
Now, Mr. Moose, you're throwing a wrench
I
out.
know, but that sounds good, doesn't it?
Which one do you like, Chip?
Especially when they're that close.
I actually like the Summersville Academic Complex, that's the one I like, but it's not up to me. Mr. Green, what's your opinion?
Oh, I like them all.
That's a politician.
That's a politician. Yeah.
Are you running for office, Mr. Green?
Let's go get Bill.
Well,
I'd like to make, I'll make the motion that it's the Summersville Academic Complex.
I guess I'll say.
okay, so we have a motion to name the new school Summersville Academic Complex by Mr. Ferguson, seconded by Mr. Berry. Any other discussion? All in favor?
The only thing,
Go ahead.
the only thing that bothers me is, you know, if I'm coming in here from somewhere else, am I gonna know that Summersville Elementary and Middle School are there?
Yeah, you're gonna have signs right over both entrances.
Yeah, but they're not at the entrance, it's gonna be way back at the,
Well, I think
Entrance
we
to
could
the
probably
building.
make a sign that says that at the entrance though.
I thought they were gonna be on the building.
It'll be right where they pull the buses in. That's what my understanding was going to be. So
where will it be?
like the main entrance where they first come in.
Yeah, yeah.
So where the bus would stop. So they would see, that'd be one of the first things they would see, is those two entrances.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would say,
Okay,
but, you know,
I'm sure that if that's not where they plan to put them, we can have them put them there. They don't care where to put them, I don't think. But we'd put them in front of the building, I would think. I think the pictures they sent us showed
it was on the front.
Yeah.
Well, if the vote wasn't that close, I mean, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with either one.
Well,
I made a motion to.
okay, so, any other discussion? All in favor of Summersville Academic Complex? Aye.
Aye.
all right.
5 ayes.
And just for earmark, for the public and stuff, it's important we go ahead and name that complex. It keeps this process going and speeding up, so it's not something that we can wait on. We really need to go ahead.
Yeah, they wanted us to name it.
Yeah, we need to get it named for State Department of Education purposes.
Cornerstone.
Yes, yes, there's a lot of reasons to go ahead and name it.
Okay, consent items, finance.
Okay, the first item is payment of current invoices, which should have been in your packet. Do you have any questions about any of those payments?
Current invoices, is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, I didn't ask about the salt spreader last time, so I'll ask about this. A hot water heater for $54,000.
I didn't hear.
Hot
Hot
water.
water.
Hot water heater, $54,000.
Yeah, that's at the Panther Creek. The hot water tank system went out on that. And we actually kind of took the lesser route on that. We didn't replace exactly what they had, because it would have been even more costly. We kind of downsized it a little bit. That would still meet their needs, but yeah, it had to be totally replaced.
Okay, thank you. And there's an item listed for coal. Do we still have some place that works
Down
coal?
Evo.
Huh?
Down Evo.
Go back.
Okay. Okay, that answers that. Thank you.
We should have some more coal coming. We got a new type of coal, it's supposed to burn better and cleaner. And so we're trying one load of it. We're gonna sample this and see how it goes before we buy more. But we're getting down pretty low, and a couple places we've been buying have kind of disappeared, and it's getting harder for us to find that coal. So.
Of course, these last several pages that are ZMM and SQP, we won't release those checks until we receive the funds from FEMA. Those are some pretty big invoices. Good on those?
Everybody good? Any questions? Go ahead.
Okay, the next item is contracts, and the first contract is in my packet is Anna Smucker, a presenter who will be at Birch River and Mount Lookout. And she was doing an Earth Day presentation at both of those places.
School's paying for that, right?
I am. Federal program.
Federal program.
Title I.
Okay. Okay.
Is that the only two schools that were interested? Really?
We're working on some other ones.
Okay.
And the second contract is the Nicholas County Veterans Memorial Park user agreement for 2024. I put that in your packet with a little note. In past years, there's kind of been a question about who would be responsible for gravel if the lot needs gravel. And in years past, or a year past, I'm not sure how many times, but we've done it sometimes, and I guess they did it back this summer. But I asked them if they could specify in the contract who would be responsible for that, and they didn't really want to specify that because their funding is not consistent. So they didn't want to say for sure that they would gravel it, but they said that if it does need gravel within this contract period, that maybe we could work together to do that.
Technically, does the board own the stadium? I can't remember.
The believe the board owns the stadium, but
Is everything inside the fence?
Inside the fence the board owns.
Park, that's parking lot.
Yeah, it's like a $6,000 contract, it's pretty reasonable. And I know the gravel, and I was one of the ones, you know, I'd like to be more specific on that gravel parking lot, but, you know, those ball games, we park out in those fields, you know, sometimes it's raining muddy, you tear up grass and stuff. I mean, the contract's pretty reasonable. And they do have a tight budget if you read.
They
read their
do, but
budgets.
I don't like that when it says work with us, because that can get you in trouble. I wouldn't, would you sign that personally if that was you?
No, I'd have it more explicit, but basically, to me, it's more of a county commission issue than it is a park issue. The park board's, you know, owned by the county commission, so.
Alan, how's the gravel up there now? Have you know?
I haven't really paid attention, this spring, but I know they did just put some down this past summer. They hadn't done it for a couple of years, so I think it was in pretty good shape this football season. They hadn't done it for a while. I think the last time, before this last time, I think we had actually gone out and put some down. So right now, it's decent, but, I mean, it does get a lot of traffic, and we're not the only ones parking on it, too.
Yeah. The other side of it is you gotta have the parking for the stadium.
We have to
I
park,
mean,
we have to park somewhere.
The park stretches around it.
Yeah.
And you do go outside of that parking gravel area during those games. They go.
Yeah, they park over in the grass, and I'm sure they're probably, I mean, on a rainy night, it's gonna be damaged a little bit, and we don't clean that up. I mean, we try to have a good working relationship with the people at the park and the county commission.
This would also include the ball fields that are there, is that correct? The ball fields that are in the park that are used by little leagues and so forth?
well, I think we're just specifically using the parking for the stadium.
But it looked like the contract did talk about other academic events that could be held at the park. But I don't think we're talking about the Little League ball fields. They have a separate user agreements. But if the school wanted to use the rest of the park for an academic purpose, it could. It would just have to coordinate with the Little League system, the way I read it. But the Little League had their own users agreement with the park and stuff. So really, ours is just the stadium, which we own, so it's really it's the parking area. But the contract does go further if you read it, and it talks about if the school system had an academic function. Yeah, we could use the park and wouldn't be paying any more for it. It's in that contract. There are a lot of school-related, but it's not directly through the Nicholas County School Board activities that go on. Like you said, the Little League, you have 4-H up there, you have the fairs and festivals where they show the animals and stuff. There's a lot of educational things that do go along with other organizations using that park. I just didn't feel that the amount was worth it.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
I just don't like those.
No, it's an open-ended from that standpoint. That you're right. It be clarified one way or the other. They just didn't want to clarify it because they didn't want to be
They
obligated.
want
to
to
it.
be stuck with it.
Yeah, they don't want to be obligated to it.
Well, hopefully we can work together on it, so.
Well, if you do put it all on them, the problem you run into
They're
is,
gonna raise your user.
well, they could do that, or they don't maintain it as well as you'd like for it to be maintained. I mean, because money, you may choose that you want.
Well, they raised to 5%, they said. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay.
Okay, the next item are bids, and Tom is not here this evening. 2 of these are his. He was putting out for bid a skid steer and a passenger van. And in both of those cases, we only received 1 bid. So that is the bid that we accepted, or we hope to accept. And those are both being paid for out of COVID funding. if they're approved. And
Is that
then,
the van retrofitting? I'm sorry.
oh, van retrofitting is next on my list. That
Oh.
is, that's the RV that we have outside that was purchased with Save the Children funds. We were going to have that retrofitted, and I put some information with that about what kind of things were going to be included with that. A refrigerator and food warmers, and then just some reworking so that there are rooms, there's room for a built-in bookshelf, and room for areas for kid activities.
Is that
And then some
Save the
power
Children
systems.
funds?
Well, this is actually going to be paid for with COVID money.
And some Save the Children. It'll be limited.
I couldn't hear that. What?
Some Save the Children money and some of the ARP COVID funds.
Is that a new van? I mean, isn't it relatively new?
They just bought it last
Yeah, we
year.
got last year.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Well, it's
I think that there, it looks like maybe they have to do some power upgrades because
Yes, to
of-
be
It's
able to
basically
run
set
the
up-
refrigeration and the warming units off grid.
yeah, it's basically set up as
Solar
a,
units so you can,
right, it's basically set up as an RV instead of what we need, so.
right. And that meets the criteria for preparedness. If you remember when we had COVID and we ended up doing all those meal boxes.
And the last bid item was for maintenance, for snow plows. And I believe we only had one bid for that as well. Yeah.
So it says snow plows, how many plows are we?
That would be three
Okay.
new ones.
Now, did we have an amount on these, or?
I don't have that.
I included in your packet,
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah. We get it down for us.
I couldn't get mine to move. Alan, does that include installation?
Yes, that would be everything.
That's skid steer, only one bid?
yes.
What is it?
The skid steer?
Yeah.
Like a bobcat.
Like a bobcat, like a,
Little tractor.
Oh, okay.
You put equipment blades and.
probably don't use it outside that on the, well, they can use it on several things.
You use it to lift, a scraper, whatever you have attached on front of it.
I just hate it that we only have one bid and we,
Except front, we don't know which front.
It's listed on the.
Valley Supply and Equipment,
Oh, okay.
and I'm assuming that's a
Oh, yes.
new unit?
Mhm. Yes, yeah, and all those bids were advertised. I believe 2 weeks.
Baker Truck
Where's
Equipment,
that
is that
funded?
local?
Where's that funded?
What is it?
Those are COVID funds.
All of it?
Baker Truck Equipment, is that local or is that out of state?
It's Charleston.
Charleston?
No,
So
no,
not,
the snow plows.
state,
and
state
maintenance.
local, I
Everything
guess.
else
It's
is
in the
COVID.
state.
Pardon me?
The snow plows are coming
So
out
we
of
would take our
maintenance
trucks
budget,
down there and they would,
but the other things are coming out of COVID funds.
They do, the last few trucks, we've had truck beds put on the newer trucks, they've done our truck beds. They do a really good job.
Yeah, they're a very reputable company. We used to use them.
They were the sole bid, but I, previously, before bidding that out, I had gotten quotes several other places, just trying to get a feel for it, and that was,
Pretty close.
yeah, right there where everybody else was, so that's, I really thought price has really gone up on those.
Okay, any other comments, questions?
What would it cost to get a new van with the things that you need compared to
Oh, probably at least $350,000.
250,
300.
350? Okay.
I can't hear you.
Oh, Steve, can't hear.
He has no
Oh.
sound.
Can you read lips?
That you made.
I can't hear you.
Help us on the way.
Hear us now?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a good thing Chris has you trained. Okay, any other questions about,
Well, what did you miss? What's the last thing you heard?
I heard, talking about getting the piles installed in Charleston.
okay,
Chip was saying something about getting them installed in Charleston.
you didn't miss my
Did?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, and then if there are no more questions about those bids, the last thing then is out-of-state travel requests. Looks like all those things would be paid for out of fundraising or band, or in the case of VOTEC, their VOTEC funds.
any questions, comments?
What did the yellow marks indicate on by the chaperones and teachers?
I think that's just where Kim was checking them off to make sure they were on the approved list.
Yeah,
That's all that means.
That mean they are or they're not?
they are.
They are.
Okay, well, there's only 4.
I had a couple that I had to wait to find out more about.
And some of them didn't have their name on there as it was on the list, so that's why those are like that.
Okay.
They go by Johnny and their name's hidden.
Right.
Okay, I thought that's what that meant, but
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion to accept consent items finance 1 and 2, which includes contracts A and B under 2, number 3 bids A, B, C, D, and then out-of-state travel, leased vehicle request 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Ferguson makes a motion, seconded by?
Second.
Second by Mr. Berry. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel. Employee discipline and ratification of suspension. I believe we need a motion for executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for personnel matter.
Mr. Ferguson makes a motion. Do we have a second?
you have a second.
Mr. Moose, seconds. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Mr. Berry makes a motion, second by Mr. Ferguson. All in favor? Aye, at 7:21.
That's 7.
21.
Okay.
Thanks. You with us, Mr. Green?
Yes.
Okay, just, thank you. All right, so personnel, A, employee discipline ratification of suspension.
My recommendation is that Margaret Hickman be off without pay for 3.5 days.
Okay, do we have a motion to ratify the suspension of Margaret Hickman for 3.5 days?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Ferguson makes a motion, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Moose. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Okay.
I have two slight corrections for the personnel. Nicholas Belmont, the date correction, he retired last month, but I had an incorrect date for the substitute, and that's March 31st, 2024. And then Brittany Murphy, employed in the position of ECAT, Gauley River Elementary, and that's effective March 13th. And then the other is Nancy Long. I have her as retiring from Summersville Middle School, and she is resigning on June 30th from Summersville Middle School. And then if you will see, it's just a corrected retirement date. Nicholas Belmont is moving it from May 31st to March 31st. Otherwise, as presented.
Hate to lose Mr. Belmont. Do we have a motion to accept the personnel agenda as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Moose makes a motion, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Berry. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Reports. Did I leave one out?
Well, and just to make sure that it was included in it, the leave request.
I included it in the personnel. Did I cut you off too soon?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to just make it noted that this has already happened, but we didn't receive it in time for the last board meeting. That's why it's on here for a date that's already passed.
Thank you. Okay, reports, SES, Mr. Ferguson.
Yes, I wasn't able to attend, and I asked Superintendent Bean to give that report.
A couple items. Harold O'Call, who used to be the head of the service person or the school board association, he's working on, I mentioned this earlier in the year, on rewriting policies for counties for possible purchase. After the legislative session ends, he'll be ready to present to the SESC his contract or his services to do policies. We are right now doing our policies with Neola. Ms. Weitzel is in charge of those policies, and they're very cumbersome and very confusing. And to be very frank, and I think that she will agree, there's got to be a better way. And I've passed out to you all a handout of what the options will look like. We're not approving anything tonight, just letting you know that this will be something that's coming up down the road. He will offer full rewrite service, which means the service will provide the County Board of Education a policy manual and full policy catalog with only the policies required by state law and West Virginia Board of Education. No other policies will be included. New and revised update service would provide the County Board of Education with periodical and yearly updates on those policies, including things like Title IX policies, new and revised policies that result as of legislative action or West Virginia State Department policies. The customized service would be a policy that basically does our policy manual over again. along with our procedures handbook. Now, I don't know if Nicholas County has a procedures handbook. In Pocahontas County, we did, and what the difference between them. A policy handbook had to be approved by the board. Procedures was kind of just the way we do things, the way we select our super scholars, the way children qualify for a National Honor Society, just those types of things. They're not policies, they're just kind of the way that the business is carried on a day-to-day basis. So when we get more information about this, I may even ask Mr. O'Call to come and present it to the board and explain how it would work and what kind of expense it would be, and then we compare it with Kristen on what we're paying with Neola right now, and then the board can make a decision if they want to change what we're doing with policies or remain with Neola.
So Howard is the one that's.
Yes. The other thing I have is they're working, the SESC is working on a professional development committee. We get a lot of complaints on professional development about bringing in all these so-called experts from all over the country that don't really understand West Virginia teachers, students, or law. And so they're trying to come up with practitioners that have retired in our school system that are still interested in presenting some types of professional development. For instance, I forget his, lost his first name, his last name is Salmons, Drexel Salmons and Judy Pomeroy are examples of people who've done a lot of staff development in our counties in this area of the country for years. And we're looking at creating a catalog of professional development activities that we could get someone that's local, that's expert in that area to come and do training for us at a much cheaper rate, a lot closer to us, and probably can relate to us better. We're getting ready to have staff meeting here in a couple of days. I hope we have it on Wednesday. And one of the things I'm going to talk to my staff about is trying to find some training to help us work with student behaviors in grades pre-K through second grade. Because I'm telling you, the largest majority of discipline issues we've had in the last 2 weeks have been that age group. And teachers are struggling with it. They don't know how to handle these young kids that are having trouble behaving themselves. And they got a lot of issues. Someone's got physical issues, someone's got emotional issues, and our teachers aren't equipped to deal with some of the issues they're seeing now that they've never seen before. So that's one of the things we're going to try to get some help with. And that's my report. That's his report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bright Horizons, Mr. Green?
I have nothing right now, but they want to say thanks to the Board of Education for working with them. They're very pleased with what Nicholas County Board's doing for them.
Okay, thank you. Number 13, items for future agendas. Of course, the action item that we mentioned earlier on Craigsville Fall Festival. Anything else?
Does that come with a contract?
No, I don't think so. They didn't have. I
They
didn't
didn't
see
have
one.
one today, but I didn't know
Do
if.
you think we need a user agreement? Is that what you?
I'll ask Kristen. I'll talk to Kristen.
Okay. Future meeting dates. We have a special meeting Monday, March 18th, here at the board office, starting at 10 a.m. Then we have a regular meeting the same day, Monday, March 18th. Now, next we have, our next regular meeting was scheduled for April 1st, but there's been some discussion about moving that to April 8th because April 1st is spring break week and a lot of the staff will be off or out of town or such. So does everybody okay if we move that April 1st meeting to April 8th? Okay, so, and I don't know, does that meeting notice already went out? I hate it when you have to redo things,
Yeah,
but,
that's okay, I'll fix it.
all right, and that's at 6 o'clock. And then future meeting dates, the next one would be, and this is required by West Virginia Code, Tuesday, April 16th at 6 o'clock. And that's a regular meeting. Anything else? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Berry made the motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Ferguson. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. At 7:31.